Hello and welcome back to the You Love to See YouTube channel. My name is Jake, and this is going to be the next episode of my 2024 Zips projection series, where we go over the 2023 stats for everyone who's projected to be on the 26-man roster, look at their Zips projections for 2024, and we talk about it. But today we're going to round out the infield, and we're going to do our first group video of this series. And it's going to be for our third base position, which is projected to have two men platoon there, Luis Urías and Josh Rojas.
Rojas scalds it. Luis Urías, a grand slam.
Josh Rojas has done it again.
Luis Urías strikes with a grand slam.
Got that baby out of here.
So with that said, we're going to go one by one per player, and we're going to start with Luis Urías. His 2023 stats was 177 plate appearances, a slash line of 194, 337, and 636 for 3 home runs, an 83 WRC plus, and negative .1 fWAR. So you may be thinking to yourself, that is not good on the offensive side, and I do agree. However, we're going to get into that. We acquired Luis Urías from the Boston Red Sox in exchange for Isaiah Campbell, and the reason we did that was because prior to 2023, he actually had some good league average bat seasons in Milwaukee in 2021 and 2022. But 2023 was marred by injuries. He missed most of the season with 2 injuries to the left leg, a left hamstring strain and a left calf strain as well. And I think what we're hoping here is that Luis turns into his 2021 and 2022 self if he's healthy. Because as I said, he was a league average bat at that point and he has a decent glove. I do want to point out that I recorded this video prior to all the reports coming out with Urías and his soggy shoulder and his defensive questionability at this point. So just gonna insert this here that I guess he's having a problem with his shoulder. Throwing from third base may not be the best for him or easiest, and that could be a problem. So he may not be our third baseman for much longer. We will see. But let's get into Luis Urías' projections for 2024. He's projected to have 455 plate appearances, a slash line of 237, 327, and 718 for 14 home runs, a WRC plus of 104, and 1.9 fWAR. So basically a slightly below league average bat with a 104 WRC plus, but with some okay pop, having 14 home runs. And he's just slightly a bit lower in fWAR than what would be like a league average everyday player, but that kind of makes sense. He's going to be a platoon, so I'm fine with that. At this point, I'm assuming that Luis Urías is going to be the lefty option for the third base platoon because he has a 118 career WRC plus against lefties as opposed to a 93 career WRC plus against righties. I'm assuming that's the plan. He already is having a bit of a problem with one of his shoulders in spring training. I think it was his throwing shoulder. So we'll see if that turns into anything more. I don't think it will, but we'll see. It did. It became a problem. It did, buddy. It did. But that's going to be it for Luis Urías because we have another player to talk about in this video, and that is Josh Rojas. We acquired Josh Rojas in the Paul Sewald trade, and in 2023, his total stats shook out at 105 plate appearances, a slash line of 245, 303, 641 for 4 home runs, a WRC plus of 78, and a 1.1 fWAR. And it's interesting because Josh Rojas and Luis Urías had pretty similar years last year. Rojas also had a bit of an injury-shortened season coming off of 2 league average 2021 and 2022 years. Now, I do want to point out that Josh Rojas did actually improve when he got to Seattle last year. When he was still in Arizona, he had a slash line of 228, 292, and 589 for a 61 WRC plus. But when he made the switch to Seattle, he had a slash line of 272, 321, 721 for a 103 WRC plus. Now, I don't know what the difference was for Josh here. I don't know if it was T-Mobile being a lefty-friendly ballpark, but I do think that was definitely part of it. We were seeing towards the end of the year, he was really working on pulling the ball a bit more and lifting it, and it was working for him, and he was actually being able to get some out of the park. But let's get into what Josh Rojas is projected to do in 2024 per Zips. He's projected to have 459 plate appearances, a slash line of 225, 298, 642 for 9 home runs, an 82 WRC plus, and 1 fWAR. Now, this would be a disappointing year if this is what he ended up putting up. If I were to shed some optimism here, one, I would point out what I already pointed out a little bit earlier. When he came to Seattle, he got better. So it's possible that is going to keep happening for Josh Rojas. And he also is going to be a platoon. So he's not going to be an everyday player, which is helpful. And that time off may be good for him, especially with a banged up 2023. He does have the same WRC plus against righties as Luis Urías does at 93. But Luis Urías is way better at lefties than Josh Rojas is, so that's probably going to have to be the platoon unless they just screw handedness and go with Luis Urías being primary and Rojas being the day off guy. Because Rojas could realistically be a decent bench piece because he does have the skills to play multiple positions, including second as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the plan is for him going forward. But I'm happy that Josh Rojas is going to be coming into 2024 healthy as far as we know so far, and I'm excited to see what he does. But I'm curious, how do you feel Luis Urías and Josh Rojas are going to perform in 2024? I would love to know your opinions on that. You can comment that down below. But otherwise, that's going to do it for this episode of the projection series. You can once again subscribe to the channel. It's free and it helps me out a lot. But that's going to be it for me, and I will see you next time.